How would a 3-night mini cruise to Zeebrugge on P&O Cruises Arcadia compare to a longer cruise on the same ship? And what is there to see on a one-day visit to Bruges? Hello everyone, welcome back to Love a Sea Day. As it was only a 3-night cruise and we were travelling light, we decided to take the train down to Southampton. We arrived just before 9:45 in the morning, and as our embarkation time wasn't until 1:30 in the afternoon, we had a few hours to explore Southampton. It was a beautiful day and we decided to wander down to Town Quay to have a look at the ships. We could see across to the Ocean Cruise Terminal where Britannia was docked. We could see the Queen Elizabeth II Terminal where we were due to embark Arcadia, and also we could see up to the Mayflower Cruise Terminal and Regal Princess, who was also due to go out the same day. Embarkation was quick and smooth and we were soon on board. Circled here you can see the balcony cabin that we had booked ourselves into. It was our first time in an aft balcony cabin and we were very happy with our choice. We were in cabin D186 on deck 5, Dominica deck. We were amazed at the amount of space we had in this aft balcony cabin. While the cabin itself was slightly narrower than a standard balcony cabin, that was more than made up for by the sheer amount of space that we had. The space between the end of the bed and the wall where the television is just a little narrower than it is in other balcony cabins that we've been in on Arcadia, but it wasn't a problem. Look at the space we had here. Normally the settee is right next to the bedside cabinet, but in this cabin we had a chair, some space, and then the settee. There was a vanity area and there's a coat hook either side of the television, which is useful if you've got bags or coats to hang up. We were blown away by the size of this balcony. It was probably 3 times the size of any of the other balconies that we've ever had on Arcadia. We'd been warned that because of the cabin location and the fact that it was fairly sheltered because it wasn't overlooked, that it would be quite dark. And although the cabin was slightly darker because of the size of the balcony, that really wasn't an issue. We loved the amount of outside space that we had in addition to being in such a big cabin as well. And we really enjoyed the sunshine and the shelter that we had in this lovely balcony cabin. One of the other advantages, for me anyway, of this balcony cabin was that because the balcony is sheltered, I was able to sit outside and enjoy the sun of the balcony but not actually be in the sun, so it worked really well for me. But here we are again, here's another view of the cabin. We just loved the amount of extra space that we had and we wouldn't hesitate to book a cabin in the same location on Arcadia again. Arcadia was the third of the 3 ships due out that day. We had a great view of Britannia at Ocean Cruise Terminal from our balcony, and we also spotted Regal Princess as she sailed past us, having departed from the Mayflower Cruise Terminal. What an absolutely glorious evening as we sailed away from Southampton. We had plenty of time to relax in the sunshine on our balcony with our sail away drinks before it was time to get ready for dinner. After a fabulous night's sleep, we woke up on Saturday morning to another glorious day, as Arcadia gently steamed her way along the English Channel towards Zeebrugge, where we were due to arrive early on Sunday morning. It was so relaxing just sitting on the balcony with the sun shining and listening to the sound of Arcadia's wake. We took a coach from the ship into Bruges. Coaches aren't allowed into the centre of Bruges, so they drop you off in a coach park, which is just a few minutes walk from the city centre. Within 4 or 5 minutes walk, we found ourselves here at the Gunpowder Tower. From the Gunpowder Tower we headed to the Béguinage, a very special place in Bruges. The Béguinage is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is today inhabited by nuns and single women of Bruges. paused for a while to enjoy the peace and tranquility of the Béguinage, it was time to continue our wanders. Bruges is a wonderful city to explore on foot, but I would recommend good footwear because, as you can see, it's full of cobbled streets. But there is so much to see, from the little alleyways and beautiful squares, stunning buildings, and of course the canals. It's definitely worth a visit. Everywhere you look, there's something beautiful to see. Our next stop was the site of the old St John's Hospital. Eleonora Verbeker Square is named after the nun and the apothecary who ran the pharmacy at the old St John's Hospital. The pharmacy of the old St John's Hospital is now a museum. From the herb garden of the old St John's Hospital, we headed towards the Market Square, which is the main square in Bruges. As it was a Sunday morning, it was actually quite quiet in the centre of Bruges, even though there was due to be a running race taking place that day. And here we are in the Market Square in Bruges. The white building straight ahead is the provincial court, now used for ceremonial purposes. And here is the belfry, a medieval tower. It is one of the 3 towers of Bruges. We decided to stop for coffee in Au Merveilleux, which is just off the Market Square. We'd heard it recommended, and it didn't disappoint. You could see them making all of the lovely cakes. Look at the size of this chocolate chip brioche. It was still warm and the chocolate was all melty, and it was absolutely delicious. And here we are on the other side of the belfry from the Market Square. The belfry is a UNESCO World Heritage listed building, and there are 47 bells in the tower. This is a very popular spot for photographers in Bruges. It's just an iconic junction of the canals and just so picturesque. It's also very popular because you get a lot of the Bruges canal boat tours going from here. And as you can see, they were pretty popular on this day. Heading through this arch beneath this beautiful piece of architecture, we found ourselves in the Burg. This is another square in Bruges which I very much recommend visiting. The architecture on all sides is absolutely stunning. This beautiful building, called the Liberty of Bruges, was formerly a courthouse as recently as 1984. It is now a museum. This is the beautiful Bruges City Hall. For a small entrance fee, you can visit the Gothic Hall and the adjacent historic chamber. Just a word of warning though, if you do want to visit, you might need to check in case there's a wedding taking place, as the historic chamber and the Gothic Hall are closed to the public when there's a wedding taking place. This windmill dates from 1770 and is still in its original location on the city ramparts. Grain is still ground at this windmill and it is open to the public. If you don't mind climbing some steep stairs, you can apparently get some breathtaking views over the city ramparts from the top of the windmill. A short walk from the windmill brings you to Cruisport. Cruisport, or Crossgate, is the best preserved of the medieval gates in Bruges. It dates from around 1297. The Boniface Bridge is a lovely old pedestrian footbridge next to the Church of Our Lady. On the opposite side of the canal, there was an artist studio in an old house. The artist was there and you could watch him working. You could also see some of his art pieces. It was free to enter and definitely worth a visit. This is probably one of my favourite spots in the whole of Bruges. With its network of canals, it's not hard to see why Bruges is known as the Venice of the North. The Church of Our Lady is one of the three towers of Bruges, the others being the Belfry and St Saviour's Cathedral. We decided to have a second coffee stop and we found this absolutely lovely little place called Paradise. It had a beautiful little courtyard out the back and served absolutely delicious lattes. The service in Paradise was excellent and very friendly, and when we were leaving we were given a refreshing squirt of hand squoosh to see us on our way. Lovely. It was now time to head back to pick up our coach back to Zeebrugge and to the cruise port to return to Arcadia. Our walk took us back past the Minnewater Lake of Love, and it was a lovely stroll back through the sunshine. Back on board Arcadia, we headed to our cabin to drop off our things, and then it was straight up to the Belvedere buffet for a bite to eat. After that, we headed back to the cabin to enjoy the sail away from our balcony. Having taken such a leisurely pace on our outward trip from Southampton across to Zeebrugge, our return journey was rather quicker as we left Zeebrugge on Sunday evening and were due back into Southampton in the early part of Monday. So what was life like on a short mini cruise on Arcadia? Well, we're used to cruising on Arcadia. We've been on her a number of times and she's our favourite ship. We usually do 14-night cruises, sometimes a little bit longer. So it was very interesting to see what the differences were. One thing we have noticed is that on the short mini cruises, you tend to get single-sex groups quite a lot. Not exclusively, there are mixed groups as well and couples, as we were there just as a couple. But you get people celebrating special birthdays, they're on hen parties and things like that. So the atmosphere on board tends to be a bit different from what it is on the longer cruises of a week or more. It was certainly lively on board, and you can see the appeal for special weekends away, for birthdays and things like that. You've got everything that you could possibly need on a cruise ship. You've got the bars and the restaurants to enjoy, you've got entertainment and nightclubs, so there's everything there, and you don't then have the worry about how to get home afterwards because you simply wander down the corridor to your cabin and there you are. So yes, while the 3-night mini cruise was a rather different experience than the longer cruises that we've done on Arcadia, we still had an absolutely fabulous time. So it's worth checking them out if it's something that you think you might be interested in. If you're interested in finding out what a 2-night mini cruise to Le Havre was like on MSC Virtuosa, then I've got a video that you can check out for that as well. And if you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I would very much appreciate that. Thank you. Hope to see you again soon.